playing with the red butterfly and torturing the purple core. How miserable was the ending of Qian Feng? Why did Suzaku choose him as the container for his own house? When it comes to Qian Feng, he has to trace his amazing bloodline. He is the great-grandson of the 13th generation, Suzaku Ganpinghai. In that year, Suzaku and Yunkaku worshipped under Qian Fenghai's gate together. The two had similar qualifications, but Qian Fenghai preferred Yunkaku, and he scolded Suzaku all the year round. Suzaku once thought that he could win recognition as long as he worked hard, so Qian Fenghai later taught him the powerful Suzaku Xianjin, and he was also full of joy that his efforts had finally been responded to. But it was soon discovered that this Suzaku Xianjin was actually a double-edged sword, and every time it was used, it would permanently damage the spirit and could not be restored. What made him most sad was that Qian Fenghai didn't mention a word about it. And this old guy was still on his deathbed, wanting to pass the position of Suzaku to the son of Yunkaku. Fortunately, Suzaku was highly skilled and controlled the crystal of star cultivation in advance, so he was able to turn things around. In fact, Yunquazi was an undercover agent sent by the immortal tribe to the human race, and his true identity was the second ancestor of the immortal tribe. If it hadn't been for Suzaku to control the overall situation, today's Suzaku continent would have fallen into the hands of the immortal survivors.
Nevertheless, Suzakuzi didn't hate Yunkakuzi.
He always hated Ganpinghai. So much, so that after Ganpinghai died, Suzakuzi sold his body to the corpse insect to vent his hatred. It also took a lot of time and energy. From the descendants of Ganpinghai, they found Ganfeng whose appearance and spiritual roots resembled Ganpinghai. He accepted Qian Feng as a disciple and imitated Qian Penghai's practice back then and taught Suzaku Xianjin to him. Only when Qian Feng's artistic conception was complete, he swallowed his body and soul, and even all his insights in one fell swoop, thus allowing himself to enter a higher level of winning. This is not only the key to his breakthrough, but also his way of revenge. He wants to use Qian Feng's blood and soul to pay homage to the suppressed resentment of those years, so that Qian Penghai will not be at peace under Jiuquan. The first time Wang Lin and Qian Feng played against each other was before he impacted the infant transformation. At that time, Wang Lin was at the bottleneck of breaking through. In order to obtain enough immortal jade, he carried 1 billion soul streamers and robbed all the 5-level cultivation kingdoms on Suzaku Star. As a result, he was intercepted by Qian Feng on the way back. Qian Feng's purpose was to fight Wang Lin and test his depth. Naturally, Wang Lin was not afraid of the opponent, so he directly recruited the immortal sword. And the immortal power merged into the immortal sword and slashed down. He used all his strength for this blow, without leaving any hands. Qian Feng, who despised the enemy for a while, was repelled 100 feet away, and his right arm, which resisted the attack, lost consciousness in a short time. In addition to his horror, he recognized that the red long sword in Wang Lin's hand turned out to be a fairy treasure. Before the opponent could slow down, Wang Lin immediately summoned 1 billion soul streamers. Hundreds of millions of souls roared out, and the 12 main souls rushed straight to Qian Feng with a fierce aura. Qian Feng was very angry in his heart, but he didn't expect that his carelessness would go down for a while. In response to the siege of hundreds of millions of souls, he sacrificed the pseudo-immortal treasure, Suzaku Cone given by Suzaku, ready to fight back. It's a pity that Wang Lin was prepared a long time ago, and a large number of souls exploded with an order. The energy released by the explosion was extremely terrifying, making Qian Feng's complexion drastically changed. He had to give up the Suzaku Cone, which was focused on attack, and began to summon another defensive treasure that Suzaku had given him, the Suzaku Xian formation, which barely blocked the impact with the power of the formation. Although he was shocked to vomit blood, the formation was still strong. An angry look appeared in Qian Feng's eyes, and he gritted his teeth and said, "Your Excellency has a good technique. Qian has seen it today." Wang Lin glanced at the opponent calmly. He wanted to take advantage of the situation to kill this guy, but he had no choice but to guard Suzaku Xianjin so strongly that he could only give up the fight and flee away. Qian Feng witnessed Wang Lin's departure, and his suppressed anger finally broke out. He summoned the red butterfly, who had become a puppet, and quickly healed her injuries by absorbing the essence of her life. This was the first time he had seen the power of 1 billion soul streamers, and he secretly vowed in his heart that he would take this treasure for his own use in the future. Later, Suzaku's tomb opened, and many monks entered it one after another, trying to regain their lives and souls. Qian Feng also entered and saw Wang Lin again in the tomb. At this time, Wang Lin had already broken through to the early stage of infancy, and his strength was far better than before. In order to cause trouble for Wang Lin, Qian Feng ordered the puppet red butterfly to stop him. Hongdi, who had been humiliated by Qian Feng, still had a faint ray of divine consciousness left in her body. In the brief clarity of divine consciousness, she begged Wang Lin to end her pain, and on her deathbed, she left a jade record of Qian Feng's artistic conception, as well as the Tianyu sect's treasure coin Ji Whip. The fall of the red butterfly made Wang Lin have mixed feelings in his heart. He has had many confrontations with this woman, which can be regarded as a deep grudge, but he always regards her as a respectable opponent. Now seeing her coming to an end in despair, she secretly vowed in her heart that she would kill Qian Feng for her and avenge her. Wang Lin followed in Qian Feng's footsteps and came all the way to the tomb of the first generation of Suzaku Yuio, where the crystal of star cultivation was sealed. The tomb is guarded by a golden armored man armed with a giant sword, and his strength has reached the realm of victory. In order to break through the guards and enter the tomb, Wang Lin temporarily forgot his previous unpleasantness and joined forces with Qian Feng and Lu Mei to fight against the golden armored man. During the fierce battle, Qian Feng gave birth to bad thoughts and tried to seize the 1 billion soul streamers in Wang Lin's hands. Wang Lin used his means to direct the anger of the golden armored man to Qian Feng and Lu Mei, putting the two in a more dangerous situation, and he took advantage of the chaos to break into the tomb. In the tomb, he saw the crystal of star cultivation and the Skylark who had been waiting here for a long time. Skylark tried to trick Wang Lin into taking out his life soul from the crystal of star cultivation for him, but deliberately concealed that the price of taking out the life soul was life for life. Wang Lin saw through the conspiracy and resolutely refused to cooperate, so the two sides completely turned against each other. At this moment, the crystal of cultivating stars took the initiative to catch up with Wang Lin, wanting to give him the Suzaku inheritance. Wang Lin was not tempted. He knew that once he accepted the inheritance, it would mean that he would be bound to Suzaku Star in this life until his life was over. What he yearns for is the vast sea of stars and the supreme avenue, rather than being imprisoned in a corner as a mountain king. Although he refused the inheritance, he also knew the way to withdraw his soul from the crystal of star cultivation. With the crystal of star cultivation, he quickly fled Yi Weio's tomb, and the Skylark behind him was in hot pursuit. When Wang Lin returned to the entrance of the tomb, Qian Feng and Lu Mei were still fighting fiercely with the golden armored man. In order to divert hatred, Wang Lin decisively threw the crystal of star cultivation at Qian Feng. Qian Feng stretched out his hand to pick it up, but found that Lark was killing at an alarming speed. Facing the approach of this mid-term powerhouse, Qian Feng had little time to think and immediately sacrificed a strange bronze figure that Suzaku had given him to fight the enemy. After the bronze man was activated, it exuded a black and red light. This vision caused Lark to stop and stare at each other vigilantly. Suddenly, Qian Feng's body trembled violently, and white rays of light floated out of his 7 senses, and all that was not under his control was absorbed by the bronze man. With a look of fear in Qian Feng's eyes, he forcibly crushed a teleportation jade sword in his hand, allowing his body to appear dozens of feet away, which prevented Shou Yuan from continuing to lose. After the bronze man absorbed a sufficient amount of longevity, he turned into the figure of Suzaku. At this moment, Suzaku's expression is radiant and his face is ruddy, far from the old look before. With the help of the bronze man and Qian Feng's Shou Yuan, he has come in the form of incarnation, and he has a head-to-head duel with young Kazi. At the beginning of the battle, Suzaku released a tumbling red mist, which instantly enveloped a radius of 10 miles. And fluctuations in mana shook the entire Suzaku tomb, but it was difficult for outsiders to see the battle situation clearly. Qian Feng was severely injured at this time, and he suffered a serious loss of Shouyuan, and his inner resentment towards Suzaku had already erupted. He now understands that from beginning to end, he is just a tool for Suzaku to seize the house. Unexpectedly, the stove that I have played with for a lifetime will one day become the stove of others. In fact, Qian Feng's luck was not bad, because the immortal survivors suddenly appeared in the world and forced Suzaku into a desperate situation. He could only seize the house in advance in a hurry, so that Qian Feng would not die directly. If Suzaku is given a little more time and more adequate preparation, so that Qian Feng's artistic conception can grow to a state of great perfection after Suzaku devours him, it is really possible for him to break through and reach the realm of Inshu. It's a pity that the sky is not as good as people wish. Although Suzaku has forcibly descended in the form of an incarnation, it seems to be full of vitality, but in fact it is the end of the crossbow. This counterattack is nothing more than a desperate fight for it. Outside of the red mist, Qian Feng, Lu Mei, and Wang Lin stayed in place. Wang Lin immediately summoned 1 billion soul streamers, staring at them coldly, ready to behead them here. With a flick of the soul streamer in his hand, countless souls roared out, permeating the heavens and the earth like a black whirlwind, emitting bursts of ghosts and wolves roaring. Then Wang Lin used the method of soul fusion to condense these souls into 6 powerful main souls comparable to the late stage of infant transformation. He controlled the 4 main souls to chase Lu Mei, and the other 2 pounced on Qian Feng. He himself was holding a fairy sword and launched a violent attack on Qian Feng. Qian Feng immediately sacrificed the Suzaku cone to release the red lightning to meet the attack, but was strongly defeated by Wang Lin's immortal sword. Suzaku chase belongs to the pseudo-immortal treasure, but the immortal sword belongs to the real immortal treasure. Or the higher quality middle-level immortal treasure in the immortal treasure. The gap between the two is quite obvious. On Lu Mei's side, he sacrificed a white ribbon and forcibly broke through and fled, with the 4 main souls in hot pursuit. Qian Feng, who wanted to seize the crystal of star cultivation, forcibly suppressed the idea of escaping. Facing Wang Lin's step-by-step pressure, he took the lead in tying a piece of Aoki magic weapon. After the Aoki landed, it grew against the wind and instantly turned into a towering giant tree. Countless branches stretched out from the tree and suddenly attacked Wang Lin. Wang Lin wanted to dodge, but found that these branches could ignore the distance and space, and could appear out of thin air from all directions and launch attacks. Wang Lin sacrificed 8 reincarnation years of wood carving to defend the surrounding space and get a short respite for himself. Then the figure flashed and appeared in front of the big tree, and the immortal sword in his hand slashed down, cutting off the entire giant tree in the middle. Then he immediately urged 1 billion soul streamers, summoned countless souls to form a large formation, trapped Qian Feng within a radius of 10 miles, and completely cut off his retreat. Finally, 4 sword intent were released, attacking Qian Feng from southeast, west, and north at the same time. The sword aura was shocking, and the killing intent was awe-inspiring. The whole set of consecutive moves was as silky as flowing clouds and water, instantly pushing Qian Feng into a desperate situation. In horror, Qian Feng shouted, "There is no deep hatred between us. Why are you so aggressive?" Wang Lin responded coldly, "I promised Hongdi to avenge her." These words cut off Qian Feng's begging mentality, and he had to sacrifice the last whole card, which was a rusty iron sword. This sword is the secret treasure of the ancestors of the Qian family. It is stained with the blood of the 9-star ancient god, exuding a prehistoric atmosphere. At the moment when the iron sword appeared in the world, Suzaku and Skylark in the fierce battle in the distance couldn't help being shocked. Suddenly a red phantom galloped from a distance, instantly penetrating the circle of souls under Wang Linbu. And all the blocked souls screamed and dissipated one after another. Wang Lin noticed the abnormality and immediately backed away. But Honging was still easily hit by thousands of feet and vomited blood, and even his internal organs were shattered. When the red phantom condensed immediately, it turned into a translucent man with red hair. Wang Lin recognized the opponent's true identity at a glance. Tuasan, the body of the demon mind of the ancient god Tu. However, the person in front of him is not the real Tuasan, it is just a ray of consciousness of the other party. With a wave of his hand, Tuasan smashed the Suzaku Qian formation on Qian Feng's body, then seized the iron sword in his hand, stripped off the blood on the iron sword, and condensed it into a drop of golden blood that exudes powerful energy. Tuasan was very excited. With this drop of the essence and blood of the nine-star ancient god, coupled with the power of the star-repairing crystal, the day to get rid of the seal was at hand. He immediately swallowed the essence and blood, his breath skyrocketed rapidly, and then carrying an iron sword, he escaped into the billowing red mist formed by the battle between Yunkaku and Suzaku, intending to compete with the two for the crystal of star cultivation. Qian Feng, who was at the end of the road, was about to take the opportunity to slip away, and Wang Lin teleported directly in front of him, pointing at the center of his brows, ready to behead the opponent. At this moment, the magic weapon of Qian Feng was lost, Zhou Yuan was exhausted and seriously injured. Knowing that he could not escape death, a crazy look flashed in his eyes, and he decided to expose himself to the jade and set himself on fire, pulling Wang Lin to die together. At the moment when Qian Feng was about to expose himself, Wang Lin used a magic technique, taking Qian Feng's life as the guide, and withdrew his soul from the crystal of star cultivation through the air. After the return of the soul of life, Wang Lin felt an unprecedented sense of perfection. On the other hand, Qian Feng, the breath of life, stopped abruptly at the same moment, and the self-exposure had completely fallen before it was completed. When Qian Feng's body fell, the 5 elements and 4 spirits obtained from the previous devouring of the red butterfly in his body also overflowed out of the body. Wang Lin quickly shot and successfully captured one of them, while the other 3 dissipated in the air. He then took away Qian Feng's storage bag and threw his body into the golden ocean. Purple Core, who was watching the battle 100 miles away, showed ecstasy in his eyes, and immediately dived into the sinking place of Qian Feng's body. He used the secret method taught by Skylark to devour all the magical powers and cultivation skills left by Qian Feng's corpse. And his strength also jumped from the stage of transformation to the middle stage of infant transformation, becoming one of the biggest winners in Suzaku's tomb. Throughout Qian Feng's life, he was like a puppet ridiculed by fate, from the pet of the teacher to the body of the vessel. From the choice of Suzaku to the sacrifice of Suzaku, he thought he could control everything, but he didn't expect that he was only a pawn of others.